Marcus, when you're in commissioning and you're closing out a job, there's all these lessons learned, there's problems found, problems solved. How the hell do we capture that? I mean, our industry just really is not good at capturing and relearning things.
Well, so let's take that and then basically so remember, so when you start a job, right, you're always start with the end in mind.
Yes.
Okay. Funny thing is you just ended a job, and then the next job that comes out, there's RFPs and queues, and everyone's put in there all the different things they want, and everybody's basically qualifying that, we're going to solve this, and we don't want this to happen. You just came off all these lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
So then they basically choose these firms that, we're going to not have these happen again. Repeat happens again, right? So it's just like everybody's been on a plane, I'm sure, right? And you've ever heard last week they're like cross-check, right? Yeah. It's their way of commissioning the plane, QAQC. Every single time they land it, they go down. Every time they go through the books, they go through it, right? They check it, right? They make sure that you are safe to take off, okay? Well, why is it that every time we start a building, we go through the entire process, right? And you still have all these screw-ups? So I've been saying for years, right? Where is the Bible of lessons learned? And I'll break it down to a VAV. What are the top 10 things that can go wrong with the VAV? So why don't we, right? So chilled beam, air handling unit, chiller, wall system, weather barrier, roof system, windows, ground level. I mean, imagine everybody has these, right? Everybody has stuff. What if there was an open platform where we could have all contribute, like CBEX, basically, the commercial building energy consumer survey, that we all put into with EPA and Target Finder, right? Why can't we basically have the big book of lessons learned? So, all these checklists that we do, right? Everyone's got to be specific and give me your checklist. Well, why is it so hidden? Literally, it's like people they're basically hiding the wheel. The wheel exists, everybody, and these issues and mistakes have happened millennia, it feels like, in the industry. Why are they not open source? Why can't we basically just look at it? And why couldn't we have a database and type VAVs in cold environments? VAV.
Yeah.
Why is it hidden?
This is a knowledge management thing again, right? So our industry is terrible at collaboration. Everything is like, I've got this, you can't see it. It's mine.
Yeah.
And So someone said to me once, construction is like an episode of Seinfeld. Everybody's in it for themselves and no one learns a goddamn thing.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, maybe this is where a chat GPT would be like, what are the common issues for installation of,
Oh, God, can you imagine that? Getting all those lessons learned in a massive language learning model and then having a chat GPT interface where you could just ask it.
And what if, and this I never forget clients that I work with, right? They build buildings all the time. And then one day they're going to go, well, what about the air handling unit X? Like, you just use Y on the other one. Well, the contractor wants to save money on this one. So should we use X? You just use Y on the last one. And then before that, use A. Well, we save money on that one. I go, what about B? I go, so how many different units do we now have across this campus? Maybe 50 different companies. I'm like, oh yeah. So how's the O&M going on that one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say that you want to choose one, but once again, let's go back division 25, right? You put in the parameters, preferred this, preferred that. This is what we want. This is what we want, guidelines. So doesn't matter A, B, C, D, or E. They all should fall in basically into these performance specs. They should all be interchangeable. Yeah. There should be no proprietary, but there still is. Everything should be open source, right? But I'm telling you, lessons learned.
I say that. There is a wiki I am aware of, a guy called Thomas Tofgard who wrote this book, Danish guy, a guide, practical guide commissioning process. It's a really good book, actually. I'm a big fan of Thomas. He's like a good-looking, successful version of me. And he runs. So the downside to Thomas is he lives in Denmark, which is a very small. It's a 6 million person country. It's a small market. So he's a big deal in that market. Speaks perfect English, as well as Danish. But he has a wiki. I think it's his wiki that runs, and he runs that as a knowledge exchange for commissioning, but because it's in Denmark and blah, blah, blah. No one knows about
yeah.
What we need is a worldwide open source version of that. Yeah.
I've been saying this for years, my friend. I just, like I tell people all the time, like, if everything was more collaborative, if everything was more open, I mean, then everyone would be like, oh, well, you're going to drive down business. No, you're not.
No.
If everything was more mainstream, people would truly understand commissioning, project management. They would truly see the benefit of it. And if we were all held at a higher standard, right?
Yep.
The goal is to basically have that checks and balances one day, to basically have that board that basically can and will, defend the owner, and basically there's going to be checks and balances for commissioning. That's my goal, been my goal for a long time, is the more that I hate to say it, but the more risk that you take with commissioning, the more money and more you can get, because because we save the owner for the small percentage of fees that commissioning project management has, truly millions of dollars. I mean, you pay that back instantly. And the more knowledge you gain, that we have with all these lessons learned, like we're literally like a walking encyclopedia of lessons learned. That's what good people are. Really good ones, really like sort of ones that have been around it for a long time. Like that's why, my nickname is the Grim Reaper, right? You're the building whisperer. So you whisper the building and the building whispers back like, I'm going to break. And I'm like, so all we do is basically, we're going to say, you might have an issue there, recommendations and solutions. We never give means and methods, but like, we know. I mean, you can almost, it's like, the whisper, you hear the problems.
Because let's face it, when you're good at when you're doing commissioning, you're sort of like our age, you've seen, it's pattern recognition. I've seen this problem before in 20 different ways. Here's the answer, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's good news for us, I guess. Old bald people still have jobs, right, in our business.
I have hair still, but
you're catching up, mate. You're on your way.
No, you're exactly right. In closing, it's like, it's just like, from, I think, Battlestar Galactica, it's like, it happened once, it'll happen again. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just like what will be, I don't know. It's just like a repeating pattern of being.
There's no lessons learned. There's a book called The Fourth Turning, which basically says every 4 generations, because you lose the memory after 3 or 4 generations, you make the same mistakes. Right.
Every building I'm on right now, I swear to you, there people go, is this like this on other buildings? Yes. Stop it. I've tried, but it starts from day one. If you already made it into construction, and if you don't have the OPR, the BOD, the CX plan, the specs, all the things laid out with lessons learned, by the time that you basically go in to permit and bid, I mean, and you buy it, and you're done. Like, let's be real, owner, I'm sorry, get ready to shell out some cash, right? If you don't bring commissioning on as early as possible. And here's the last thing I'm going to say, my friend, is why is commissioning brought in after architects, engineers, or construction managers? Blows my mind. We are the owner's rep. We are owner's advocate. Owners, hello, if you're watching this, you should bring us on first. We will help you basically in that process, because we are there for you.
That's the thing. I blame owners for this. They are the architects of their own problems. That's a good way to wrap that up, actually. Owners, you're the architect of your own problems.